Hello everyone, welcome to this video. I'm going to show you how to make the bookmark. This video will serve as your bookmark demo. So the very first thing you're going to need is a 5x5 cut of fabric, which I will be providing for you. And the second thing you'll need is a ribbon. You will also need some sewing clips. You shouldn't need too many, probably 3 or 4 will be good enough. So I'm going to put those off to the side. Your very first step is you are going to take your fabric and you are going to fold it in half, hot dog style. You're going to fold it in half lengthwise, and you're going to put a clip on the side, so that way it stays. You want your wrong sides to be together and your right sides out. Your right side is the pretty side, the wrong side is the dull side. So this is your right side, and inside is your wrong side. Next, you're going to take your ribbon, and you're going to fold it in half like bunny ears, just like that. You're then going to put your ribbon inside your bookmark. Make sure that you have at least a couple inches sticking out. And then once everything lays flat and you're happy with the placement, you're going to clip it with a sewing clip or 2. I'm adding a sewing clip to either side of the ribbon to make sure that it stays in place. Then you're going to add one more sewing clip at the very bottom. Now your bookmark is ready to go. I'm now going to show you how I want you to sew these. Before we start sewing, there are a couple things that I wanted to point out. One is that my machine is already threaded. Both of my threads are above the stitch plate and underneath the presser foot, and everything is exactly where it's supposed to be. The second thing I would like to point out is that you need to turn on the machine. When you come to class each day, all of the machines will be turned off. In order to turn it on your right-hand side of your machine, there will be a switch. You flip it on, the light will turn on and the needle will vibrate. That's how you know it's ready to go. Next, what you're going to do is you are going to put your bookmark inside the machine. So I'm taking off the very first sewing clip so that way I can place it in the machine evenly. And we're going to start on the side with the fold up at the top where your bunny ear ribbons are. You're going to start at a 1/4 inch seam allowance. So make sure the edge of the fabric is lined up with the edge of the presser foot. Next, you're going to remove your second sewing clip because you're hanging on to the ribbon inside of the bookmark. So there's no need to have the clip there. And you're going to begin to sew. You're going to start by sewing a straight line for a few stitches, maybe 3 or 4 stitches. So we're starting, 2, 3. Now we're going to press and hold on the reverse button in order to backstitch. And we're just going over that portion that we just sewed. And now we're going to let go of that reverse button in order to sew forward again. So now we're sewing forward, still at a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Sew all the way past that ribbon and stop. Now you're going to press and hold on your reverse button, and you're going to backstitch over that entire ribbon. And then you'll sew forward one more time at a 1/4 inch seam allowance the entire time. Once you get toward the edge of the bookmark, you can line up this edge of the fabric with the inside part of your presser foot. So not these 2 toes, but the line that connects the 2 toes. And then that's when you'll know to pivot. So I'm going to go ahead and pivot now. Notice that my needle is all the way down inside the fabric. So when I turn it, it's not going anywhere. It's staying exactly where it's supposed to be. I'm then going to put my presser foot back down, and I'm going to sew forward a little bit. You'll notice that I'm not perfectly at a 1/4 inch seam allowance. That's okay as long as you're close and the lines are straight. That's all I'm looking for. Now that I'm close to this next sewing clip, I'm going to go ahead and unclip that and move forward all the way to the next edge. Once I get to the next corner, that's when I'm going to pivot. I move the camera angle so hopefully it's easier to see where exactly I'm pivoting. But I'm going forward, slowly. And now I'm seeing that my shorter fabric is starting to line up with the inside portion of the presser foot. I'm using a seam ripper to point it out. So these are the toes right here. And then the inside part that I'm talking about is right here. So where this center line ends, that's what I'm talking about. So now that I'm close to it, I'm going to pull my hand wheel toward me. So that way it's all the way down in the fabric. And I'm going to pivot and remove my last clip. And I'm going to sew forward all the way to the corner. The nice thing about the machine is that I am not pushing any fabric through or anything like that. The machine is doing it for me. My fingers are simply guiding it. So if I were to take my fingers off completely, nothing's touching the bookmark right now, and to sew forward, notice how it still moves through. However, I want my lines to be straight, so I am gently guiding my fabric through the machine. Now that the edge of my fabric is approaching the inside part of that presser foot, I'm going to go ahead and pivot one last time. Now you'll notice that now my seam is not going to be a 1/4 inch because it's not lined up with the presser foot. That's okay if you want to correct it, that's totally fine. Or if you would like to keep it straight this way, that's totally fine as well. I'm not looking for absolute perfection. I'm looking for things to be mostly straight. And then we're going to sew all the way until the end, going at a slow to moderate speed. And now that I'm approaching this corner that we first started with, I'm going to go ahead and backstitch here as well, because we always backstitch at the beginning and end of a seam. Once we get to that last corner, we lift up the presser foot and we pull the bookmark out. If you're wondering how to remove the bookmark from the machine, you can take your bookmark and use the thread cutters that are right here, and then your bookmark is totally removed. I've now trimmed off all of the loose threads, and this is the back view and the front view of the bookmark. This is all you need to do. You can staple this to a rubric and go ahead and turn it in. But this is your demo, and this is the pretty bookmark that you will eventually get to take home with you. Thank you for watching, and I very much appreciate it.